might have blown it up. This car has been giving me nothing but issue after issue and trying to get this thing tuned. It just keeps throwing curveballs at me, and I'm tired of it. If you're watching the last video I made on this car, we did a fuel pump and everything was great. Fuel pump supplying great pressure, everything is good. I got a revision from the tuner, and I'll throw a clip in right here. I went out to go do said revision, and the car was running very poorly, like mid-pole. The fuel trims were way off. My air-fuel ratio was pegged out on the access port at lean, and everything got really hot. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna dig into that right now. As you can see on the Detroit gauge there, this is my fuel pressure regulator. It is sitting at 0 PSI right now. And it should, because the car is off. And mind you, this car was running perfectly fine, had no fueling issues whatsoever, even after the pump. We did the pump and everything was fine. It was at 43.5 PSI where it should be on the fuel pressure gauge. But after that pull, something happened. So we go, we're gonna put the key in. You can hear the fuel pump kick on, right? It kicks on great. We head over to our fuel pressure regulator and we look at the gauge and we're sitting at 10 PSI and it's dropping. So that leads me to believe two things. One, the brand new fuel pump that we just put in is trash and it's not making fuel pressure. Or two, our fuel pressure regulator took a crap on us, hence returning all of the fuel that's going to the rails back to the tank without holding any pressure on the rails. I think that little guy right there is our main issue. I did pick up another one, so let's go ahead, get this fuel pressure regulator off. Let's get it torn apart to see if the diaphragm on the inside is actually torn or not. That's my guess, but there isn't any fuel in the vacuum line going to the intake, which would be a sign of a failed fuel pressure regulator. But having no fuel pressure and it's bleeding off like that makes me believe that there is a tear in the fuel pressure regulator causing the fuel to leak back to the return line. Alright, so let's break into this fuel pressure regulator. I also am not a fan of how I mounted this, so we're going to change how the new one is mounted. I'm going to pop off these mounting bolts real quick. Alright, let's break into this and see if this diaphragm is intact. I've never done this before, but somebody put it together, so it should come apart. So the diaphragm is fully intact. This is your diaphragm. So your diaphragm sits on top of your return hole, and these two sides are your feed. So when it sits here, pressure's applied up top, and whatever the field pressure negates what pressure you put it at, this set screw at, is what lets your feed go into your return to regulate your pressure. So by the looks of this, my diaphragm is fine. The spring could be worn out, but I don't think that's the case. It looks fine. It's not bent. It's not broken. Check the diaphragm. Everything looked fine there. One thing that was kind of concerning, it felt a little crusty, like the diaphragm was a little stiff. I don't know if it's supposed to be or what, but I think I did pick this one up used from somebody, so I feel like it probably had a bunch of ethanol in it at one point, and then it sat until I bought it. So either way, I have a brand new one of these sitting right here. So let's go ahead, crack this open, and replace this fuel pressure regulator. So like I was saying, The diaphragm, I believe, is bad on this. Even though it didn't look horrible when we were pulling it apart, it did feel a little stiff, so no better way to fix it than just replace it. I can't find diaphragms online for that, so it's about the same price to just go ahead and buy a new one. So there is our nice brand new regulator. So we can go ahead and get this set up just how that one's set up, find a new mounting location, and then we'll be good to run it. Alright, so that's a new setup, how we got the fuel pressure regulator set up. I like that so much better. I can actually see the gauge instead of having to like look down in the corner or super far down. I like that a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner, a lot easier to get to. I still have some wiring to clean up, but that fixed half of our issue. So that fixed the chirping sound, so that tells me that the diaphragm on the inside was broken or not operating correctly. So that is fixed. The chirping is gone. My other problem now is it is bleeding fuel pressure off so fast. So it won't even pressurize up to 40 psi. It'll pressurize only up to like 17 and then bleed off to 0. As it sits now, I just turned the key off and it bled back down to 0. So it's making me think that the pump on the inside, something going on with it. But I kind of want to start the car first to see if it'll hold pressure or if it's just bleeding back because it knows that it's not started, so it's pulling pressure away, which doesn't make any sense, but I don't know. So before we start the car, I want to check voltage on the pump because it sounds healthy, but it's not building enough pressure. So it's making me think that it doesn't have enough voltage supplied to it, which may be us needing to get a hardwire kit and fix it from there. But let's test voltage on that, make sure that's good to go. Now that we have that installed and fixed, we can troubleshoot the rest of the fuel system. Alright, so what you just saw was I just primed the fuel system and used an automotive stethoscope. When the fuel system started losing pressure, I put my stethoscope on the feed and return line, the hard lines on the tank. And the return line, you can't hear anything. But the feed line, you can hear gurgling, like it's bleeding back into the tank somehow. So that makes me believe that our brand new D-Works 340 has already taken a shit. And I hate that. Alright, so I didn't show it on camera, but I just tested voltage on the fuel pump. And we have 12 volts at prime as well as 12 volts at cranking. So that leads me to believe that this brand new D-Works pump that we just installed blew a check valve on the inside of it, because I can hear fuel sloshing back into the tank, not from the return side but through the pump. So it's not maintaining pressure on its own. Something funky is going on. So let's go ahead and pull this pump assembly. Let's take a look at it, and then worst comes to worst, let's just throw in the old AEM that we have and see if that'll prime up and hold fuel pressure. And if that one doesn't, then we're down the rabbit hole again of why is this not holding fuel pressure. But let's go ahead and yank this pump out. couple minutes later, we got that pump out. Now it's time to see if that one will hold pressure. Let's give it a prime. Would you look at that? We're at 40 psi, and we're dropping very slowly. Let's give it one more prime and let's see what it'll do, because there was a good bit of air in the system. Alright, so everything looks good there. I'm gonna give this fuel pressure regulator like a quarter of a turn. Because it's at 40, I needed it at like 43 and a half. That AEM sounds way healthier too. Which is crazy because that pump is brand new. Alright, so I'm gonna put the camera down for a little bit. It is currently 6:40 in the morning and all my kids are sleeping. So I'm not gonna start this just yet. I'll pick up the camera when we go ahead and start this to go for a rip. With all that being said, I am happy with the progress that we made with this fuel pressure regulator, because the other one was chirping like crazy and it wasn't doing what it needed to do. So now that we have a nice brand new fuel pressure regulator that hasn't had ethanol running through it and then pulled off the shelf and sat there for however many years before I bought it, this is a good brand new unit. There's not going to be any issues with that. It's all routed way nicer now. I like the spot where it's at now compared to where it was, so I can go ahead and see it and adjust it way easier. With that being said, let's go ahead, put the camera down for a little bit. I'll catch you guys when we go to start this thing. She is back out and she is fixed. She sounds super healthy, other than that ticking coming from there, but it'll buff. So, like I said, we had to fix the fuel pressure regulator, which we did, and then we go ahead and fixed the fuel pump as well, because the Deechworks took a crap on us right away. So, fuel trims look good. Let's go ahead, hop in this car. Let's go finish some of this tuning and just put some more miles on this to make sure that this pump is actually gonna work for us. All right, well, I hate filming with my sunglasses on, but I can't see anything because these are prescriptions, so deal with it. All right, let's go check everything out, make sure everything works the way that it should, or that it's supposed to. To be honest with you, I'm pretty bummed that the Deechworks pump didn't work out. Everything so far so good. It's in at 14.7. Let's see if it stays that way. Alright, so we do have the new map loaded on here, and the tuner wants some poles from 2650 to like 6,500 RPMs or 6,300 RPMs. So let's go knock that out. Oh yeah, she's back. She's back. That was just a tiny pole. Might get a little windy on this pole. I do not have my AC hooked up, so it's gonna be noisy. He wants 2750 to 6500. Third gear. That gets your blood pumping every freaking time, dude. It sounds so good. That was way better fuel pressure. That was at like 10.5 to 11 to 1. That was so much better than the maxed out 20 lean. And I also had 0 knock, so that was a plus. As some would say, I hit 130, 135 before my red line just there. So it's scooting, that's for sure. We're out here scooting. So first rip that we did on the last revision with the watt poles, I was at 12 PSI boost. I was on the base map with the watt. This is the second revision, so we're creeping in boost a little bit. That hit almost 18 pounds of boost on third gear, 2750 to about 6500 RPMs. So we're creeping in the boost just to make sure that everything's good. I think we probably got a couple more revisions in us before everything goes, you know, before we start doing like 1 through 4s. But fueling issue is fixed, thank God, because this thing almost blew up on me and I did not want to have to rebuild this engine that quickly. So air fuels are great. We have a brand new fuel pressure regulator. Everything looks good there. Now it's just time to rip this thing and just go spray and pray pretty much. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I can't wait until we can rip this thing together again, because I think this next revision is going to be pretty spicy. And I'm curious to see like a fake dyno sheet readout, see what it's going to make. But dyno right there at 17 pounds of boost, it was feeling right around 400 wheels. So I think we're going to be looking pretty stout here soon. With that being said, thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.